Hey y'all, this is Sherilyn, Just Goodness 333 Little Homestead. And today is a little bit different day. We're in April 2020 and we're at the end of our cool weather crops. So the garden is looking really sparse. Not that you'll be able to tell that by this big harvest of tomatoes. Today I decided, since this barren garden isn't producing very much right now and we don't have new seedlings in the ground yet, I decided to let the girls out. I decided to let the chickens free range for a few days. We are in the middle of this, pandemic, and I don't want to go to the store if I don't have to. So one way of extending chicken feed is just to let the chickens do whatever they do. Let them free range. They're going to find bugs, worms and grubs, and all kinds of good things. They are happy as a clam. Look at that. I left the door open. We're going to leave them out for a few days. This is our in-ground garden. The only thing that's there is this one volunteer tomato. And this, I don't have no idea what variety it is. It just came up from the compost. So there she is, full of little green tomatoes. Hopefully they'll leave her alone today. But we've got the tarp out with the black side up on this side because we had some nematodes pretty bad in this area. I grew tomatoes here, and tomatoes will draw nematodes, the root knot nematodes that will bind up their roots. So these tomatoes gave out, and as they will, toward the end of a season, they're only going to live so long. And then here, I've pulled the tarp back, but I have had the white side up. We grew brassicas and lettuces and stuff in this area, so we didn't have much of a nematode problem. And I put the white side up because that's going to be less damaging to microbes in the soil. We did, when the tree out front lost its leaves, my dad ran the lawnmower and collected all the leaves, and we put them in the rows. And they're going to be our mulch for the next season. And the girls are here, having a blast, digging and scratching. And here's the beans. They have come to the end of their life. I'm only getting a couple of little beans. And we grew Blue Lake pole beans this year, and we had so much harvest. I've been able to share them with family during this hard time. Please don't look at the weeds in the grass. I grew this back here so I could pull handfuls of it and feed the chickens. And pretty soon that's going to go, because this week we have a truckload, 12 yards of organic compost coming, and all of this will get a redo. But here is the ugly before. But look at this. These tomato plants, even though they look a little bad and they're coming to the end of their life, these little cherry tomato plants, and I actually bought these at Walmart from the Bonnie plants. Bonnie plants are always non-GMO. And I put them here in this good organic soil. These have been the best cherry tomatoes. And we're freezing these for future use and sharing with family during this time. My grandkids really loved they would eat a whole bowl of these tomatoes if you let them. So here we go. Back out here. There's Buffy. There's two of these Buff Worpingtons, and I call them both Buffy. And there's one of my Easter eggers. And there's my favorite chicken, Houdini. Houdini! She's not afraid of us. She'll actually sometimes come straight up to us, but right now she thinks I'm going to catch her and put her away. But see, we're putting the chickens in here, and they are going to dig in and find any grubs. They may find some bugs and different things and just complement their diet. Back over here, more Blue Lake pole beans that have come to the end. And the beans we're getting now aren't worth anything, so next week these plants are coming out. And here's the one mammoth sunflower. It was so beautiful. Now she's just producing seeds, and we'll turn around and feed back to the chickens. And the weeds and the grass have taken over, And that's okay, because it's good to keep roots in your ground. It helps the microorganisms that grow there. It's better to have a few grasses and a few weeds growing if you're not growing any vegetables. Then when you're ready to do that, you can pull them out. Unless you want to just amend your soil and cover it up so you don't get anything like that. But I just chose to let nature do her thing. It's going to make more work for me in the end, but that's okay. I also pull a lot of this grass and feed the chickens when they're cooped up. This is our one lone beefsteak tomato plant, and I've harvested all the low-hanging fruit because the chickens are out and they love tomatoes. So this one just volunteered in here from last year, and it's been massive and it's produced so much. We've been able to have a lot of good fresh tomatoes. I've shared with all my kids. I have a lot of kids. A lot of them are grown, have their own homes, and so I've been able to share with them. One new thing I've already started, someone threw away this old windmill because the windmill blades were rusted. And I just pulled them off, and I looked at it and I saw a trellis. So I've got cucumbers started in here. And if I put this around so the chickens couldn't get in here. But if you look close, you can see a few little cucumbers poking their little true leaves, or their little leaves, their beginner leaves out. Not true leaves yet. And I have one more volunteer I want to show you. It has yet to bear any fruit. This volunteered from the compost, made its way out of the compost structure, and is growing here along the back of the house. It doesn't have very many flowers, but I'm just going to let it do whatever it wants to do. And maybe we'll get some tomatoes off of it. And here's our pitiful little compost bin. Since we haven't had a lot of grass to put in there, it's been slow going. But anyhow, this is Girls' Day Out on the homestead. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour. Again, I said it's April 2020. We're in some strange times here. And it's time to think about switching up the garden for summer crops. And when I get the compost, I'm going to work the garden and bring you guys along for that. I'm going to weed and just amend the soil and plant some good things for summer. But that's another day. Until then, thanks for coming along. Bye, y'all.